I feel like a lot of us are very sometimes comfortable with the place we are in life, that we don't think growth is necessary. You realize later on that instead of choosing growth, you decided to settle for the just that version of you. And there's always growth. There's always something you can get better at.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to a new episode for Finding Purpose, where we dive deep into navigating grief and how those experiences build us as individuals and help us unleash our full potential. I'm your host, Tulio Hidalgo, and I'm happy to say that today I have a great guest, a great friend of mine, someone who I met my freshman year of high school in the soccer team. His name is Pablo. How are you, Pablo?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. It's my first time doing this, so super
Yeah.
excited to be doing this. I'm
Yeah.
glad you can join us. You haven't came here to San Antonio in
Yeah.
a long time, so having a
Yeah.
conversation with you is something that I've always loved, and I've loved this space, and I know this is a space
Yeah.
that you value a lot. So having a conversation with you, I'm truly excited for it.
For us to come here.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Thank you for being here, for picking me up and bringing me all the way to the podcast space because it
It is
wasn't
pretty
too
far.
close. Yeah,
It's pretty far.
it was a nice trip over here. But we made it happen. And we're here, man. So I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad we're gonna be able to have this opportunity. And I know you. You know, we're friends, and we've gotten to sit down and get to know each other a little more. But I want the audience to get to know a little bit about
course,
yourself. So can
of
you tell
course.
us a little bit about your background and eventually like who you are today?
Yeah, of course. So obviously, my name is Pablo. I've known Tulio for since freshman year, I want to say. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I lived there for about 10 years of my life. I came here to the U.S. in 2014. Knew very minimal English. I would say it was. They definitely taught me it in Puerto Rico, but it wasn't like I could have a conversation fully with somebody. So luckily, my parents put me in a bilingual program once I got here,
Nice.
and so that way I could still keep my Spanish and uh, you know improve my English as I go. But I think one of the reasons why we got so close together very quick is because we have that blood of Latino.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to pick up, and obviously the sport too,
Yeah.
that we played together. So yeah, born and raised in Puerto Rico, moved over here 2014. I'm 21 years old now. Este, I'm really in love with the self improvement and growth. That's something that's become part of my life these past couple of years. And honestly, before I even talk about myself, I really want to appreciate you because you were that example that I looked at in my life, and that person that I saw navigate through grief, that I saw um, become resilient when a lot of things happened to them, to you. And I saw you, and I'm a very observant person. I've observed people and what they go through. And this is something we talked about the other day.
Yeah.
Me not really going through a lot of hardship, but seeing people go to hardship, and me taking and learning through that. So I want to thank you, and yeah, you're a huge pillar in my life that really helped me grow, and helped me want better out of me. So that's where the self improvement and growth aspect of my life came in, and that's something that I'm very passionate about now.
Yeah.
So that going into school, I'm going to study psychology for it, and hopefully build my life around that career.
Totally, man. And you mentioned that things happen to me, and I can definitely say I'm at a point where I can see that things happen for me. You know, that a lot of things really, the experience that I have faced have genuinely helped me become the person I am today, and I wouldn't be myself without those experiences. So
course.
I think that's the goal. The goal is to start reflecting on the experiences we go through and see that, yes, even though they are painful, they are also serving us to grow and become stronger individuals and enrich our experience of life.
Love that.
Now,
Love that.
you mentioned that when you were 10 years old, you moved here to San Antonio, Texas. How was that change of country, that change of culture for you?
Well, you know what? Actually, I recently is when I started really going through like a deep introspection analysis of what I've went through, and I didn't think it really had a lot of impact on me until recently, and I realized that it did. Over there, picking friends and having that friends was really easy. In Puerto Rico, everybody knows each other when you're growing up. Like every dad or like every family has a kid that goes to the same school, and then they know each other through that. And so picking friends was really easy. And obviously through sports too, you grow to have friends. But over here, when I came, I didn't really have that. It wasn't friends that I picked up through the school or through the sport. It was more kind of me having to do it. And so it was difficult. I wasn't really, picked up with the friendships
Yeah.
very fast. Um, Another thing I can say is definitely the culture. It's a different culture, which I think everybody that moves goes through.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I went through: the different culture, the vibe, the whole
Totally.
environment is different. So yeah, I think the friendships was something that I struggled with at first, and the schooling part.
Eventually, through time, like what helped you to integrate into building friendships and kind of getting used to the a new culture?
Yeah, I think once I realized that it kind of had a lot of it had to come from me, and me kind of stepping into me actually being here. I think I built a lot of friends with the activities that I would do, or the clubs that I would join. So I definitely think with time those friendships came, and then once I was also kind of I would say introverted
Yeah.
at first when I first came here, which is normal, and so once I started kind of getting out of my shell, being a little more confident in myself, I
Yeah.
started to seek more friendships. People would kind of come to me too, and so making those friendships and keeping them was something that helped me.
Yeah, it's like to keep. I feel like I've come to learn as I grow that to maintain uh, genuine relationships, genuine connections, friendships, there needs to be an effort,
Of course.
to both be in constant communication to keep that friendship alive because if not, it dies down.
Of course.
Now, you also mentioned that you're very into personal development and personal growth. Is there a specific area about personal growth that you are fascinated about?
Specific area of personal
Yeah.
growth, I would say the part of building a bulletproof mind. I think a lot of us say we want to start, and obviously the first thing you do is to start. But I feel like also a lot of us, once we see that it's difficult and it's not easy and it's a whole process, we kind of let go of it, and we decide to settle with what we already had. Something I've realized about myself is that I I decided to choose growth before my back was against the wall or something. But before I had to I didn't need to grow. I chose to do it. And so I think it's difficult. It's a difficult process to do it that way because it's not a necessity. You kind of choose to do it, and so it's harder to pull yourself to do it. But if you need to do it, if you hit rock bottom and you need to grow and you need to get out of that space that you were in,
Yeah.
it's a little easier to navigate through that pain and to choose to grow.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it was just seeing people and seeing people against the wall,
Yeah.
seeing people back up against the wall, hitting rock bottom, and me deciding, you know what, I even though I may get to that point because it's something that life just it happens.
Yeah.
Um, I never want to feel that way, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
try my best to just choose growth, choose the best things that I could do right now. Start reading books, listen
Yeah.
to the things I need to listen to, um, journal.
Yeah.
Those type of things were things that helped me choose growth and yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's part of the personal growth aspect that I liked.
Today I was listening to a video of Andrew Huberman, if I'm not mistaken.
Not familiar.
I
Not
think that's
familiar.
his last name, Andrew Huberman. He is a professor in Harvard, and he focused on neuroscience.
Okay.
And he was talking. It was a video about grief, and in the video he mentioned that even if you haven't gone through grief, this can still serve you to be in a way emotionally prepared if you do go through it. So that's kind of what I'm receiving with what you're saying now. It's like, let's not wait until we have to hit rock bottom to be in a way prepared to sort of navigate through that experience.
It's
So our chances of coming out of those tough experiences is more optimistic. Our chances of going through a more complimentary experience afterwards is better. It's higher, I should say, when we are focusing already on our personal growth before those things have to occur.
exactly. I think a lot of it is foreseeing, kind of what you may go through, what people go through. You foresee it, and you kind of choose the things that they choose now because it happened, but you choose it before it happens to you. That way, yeah, you're prepared, and you have that knowledge. And I think, something my dad always told me is, he tells me to me in Spanish, but la vida es la maestra.
La vida es la maestra.
So life will teach you.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can prepare for life to teach you. You can prepare, and that's what we're talking about here. You can kind of start picking up those habits. Start looking at routines that people do when they do want to shape their life to be better. Even though, sure, you're in a comfortable spot, you don't really need to get better, but still you decide to do it so that if any day or anything happens, you kind of know what to look for instead of looking for a specific, like, en español se dice un vicio.
Un vicio. Huh?
How do you say that
Yeah,
in English?
it's like a coping mechanisms. It's a addiction.
Yeah, like
A substance
you don't get dragged the
abuse.
wrong way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just feeding positive,
Yeah.
good things into your mind. So I think it's a big part of.
Yeah. I think obviously balancing both things, that like preparing for those experiencing, but also being open that life is also going to teach you is important. Like, we can't fully prepare for the things we're going to go through because sometimes it will come unexpectedly, and then life will just have to teach us.
Of course.
So I think just focusing on that personal growth allows us to, when life does hit us, be able to move forward more effectively.
Of course, and not look for those, just the wrong path.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah.
I agree with you. Now, I want to focus a little right now more on grief and your personal experiences with grief. Have you ever lost someone close to you?
I wouldn't say. I've definitely lost. I've lost a person that was with me for a long time, still with me,
Yeah.
and that's my father. He was with me for all my childhood. I mean,
Yeah.
he used to take me to games. He was very present in my life as a child, and I felt that. And so, when we moved over here, and after he was having to move to different places as well, and him had to balance that. Obviously, it had to do something with his own mother, his own personal stuff. So
Yeah.
he had to take that decision, which I respect, obviously, but also it left me losing, I guess, that parent for a long period of time. He was still present in terms of phone calls, and I mean, he wasn't too far
Yeah.
distance, but still, it was that presence of him that I felt since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Didn't have that for a while, so I guess that's an identity that I lost in my personal life that I valued a lot, and I didn't have it for a while, and so now I do, but I guess that's a period of loss that I
Yeah.
went through, where me and my sister actually had to go through together, and luckily we had our mother, very very good mother. She helped us through a lot and navigate through that grief a lot too. Um, she really impacted me personally. She actually gave me that light that even though my father wasn't present, it was I could still carry on with my life. I didn't need to rely on him to move forward. And so even though like I said, he was in some way present, he wasn't here, and that was somebody that I relied on a lot. Um, she made me feel like I could still move forward, and so I appreciate my mom for that a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Did your mom ever tell you anything that gave you that hope, that gave you that fuel to keep moving forward? Was there anything specific she ever told you?
I just knew she always had our backs, and she she wanted the best for us always, and so she would always try her best to to show us that in terms of, oh, she may not even be having a good day, but let's go play tennis. She may not be having a good day, but let's go do something still. Kind of keep our mind off of whatever
Mm,
issues my own parents were going through, and so um, she always, yeah, just showed me and my sister that light, and so that's why I'm not too,
yeah.
I was never too emotionally attached to to the issues that they were having. It was more just, just always pushing forward. I guess that's why I'm
Yeah.
a very resilient
Yeah.
person, and every time an obstacle comes my way, I always try to just look for the light,
Yeah.
and just push towards the light.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like the way I'm receiving this is that your mom, rather than, let's say, going back, getting back home, being tired, and letting you guys be in your own room to think and wonder about what's going on, she wouldn't give you guys that I guess you could say opportunity to do that. She would rather, let's go play tennis, let's go out and let's hang out, let's
Do an
be
activity.
together. So that would, how you said, keep you guys' mind running, keep you aware that, oh, we're still moving forward, we're still together as a family, spending time together. And it was like it wasn't even specific like she would say anything, but her actions
Actions,
showed.
actions.
It's like her actions showed that yes, we can still move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep,
think I think that's
that's
incredible.
exactly what it is. I think she's a very healthy person too, and she likes to dwell through those things. And obviously, as a mom, the best thing she did was not show us that emotion, not show us what she would sometimes cry in front of
Mm.
us, but we would also be her,
Mm.
we'd be there for her. But not that emotion she didn't really, because she was also, going through a lot,
Yeah.
and so pushing us to kind of just knowing that, everything's going to be all right. We can
Yeah.
still move forward. We can still uh, do better, get better. And so I guess that's a big part of my reason why I am who
Mm.
I am today. My mother,
Yeah. No,
for
that's
sure.
that's incredible. Do you think that we can find purpose through grief?
I think we can. I think we can. I think purpose. I think once we understand our grief, and we
Mm.
understand um, why it may happen to us, why, even though sometimes it's out of our control,
Yeah.
so it's out of our control sometimes, but once we understand um, that there's, again, always a light, and we and how can I think a big part of it is just becoming resilient through
Mm.
these times, and just always having that perspective of we can I can get through this, and it's okay to allow ourselves to feel that
Mm.
emotion of grief, and to understand that, this is part of life, but there's always a light.
Mm.
Now, finding purpose through it um, can definitely happen. I think if it's something huge that impacted us, it can it could influence
Mm.
our wants to find that, and so we
Mm.
start looking at different areas of our life where we can find our purpose. So I
Yeah.
think it can open our eyes to wanting more,
So,
and to just wanting a better life overall, for sure.
how has your experience on grief affected your relationships with others?
I think I understand people now. Like, since I've gone through it, when people go through stuff, I can't really hate people. I can't hate people anymore. It's like I always, when you go through something yourself, it's like you don't stop and say, you don't hate somebody for their actions, because
Mm.
you've never know what they've gone through, and so you kind of just come at peace with, okay, maybe this person's like this for a reason, and if there's a way you can find out that reason, then sure. I mean, I'll get to know you a little better, especially if it's a friendship, or,
Mm.
or somebody you're trying to get to know. But what I mean by taking
Mm.
peace, if it's just somebody that's frustrated for some reason, let's say at a coffee shop or something, I can, make peace with that person for being that way, and just kind of keep going through my own life, and not let other people's actions
Mm.
impact my own. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that
Yeah.
answers the
Yeah.
question.
It it sort of goes into like emotional intelligence. This is like grief. Also, emotionally, you become more intelligent because it is an experience that makes you become very in sync with your emotions. So, and then when we're talking about our relationship with others, you mentioned how we can be empathize, have more empathy with others because we understand what it feels like to go through certain adversity in life, and we can comprehend that their actions can maybe a lot of the times be projections of things that they've faced. So
Yeah.
we won't take it personally, and it kind of becomes the shield to our own being.
Yeah, exactly that. And if it is somebody that again that you're trying to get to know, I can always now make that space for them to, kind of like talk to them, help them out. I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
personally that I like doing. Letting people kind of, or me just trying to find a way to help that person to the best of my ability. I think that's why I'm very passionate about also psychology
Mm-hmm.
and why I want to go into it because I don't know. I just have this heart for people and for caring for others. Um, so when somebody does come to me with a certain issue or a certain thing that they've gone through or going through, I'm always just there to listen. I'm just an ear to listen and understand what they're going through. I think, especially when people are navigating
Mm-hmm.
through grief, I think having that person is just the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who is navigating grief?
I would say again, I go back to this all the time because I think it's super important that we allow ourselves to feel that way.
Mm.
That we don't think anything is wrong. That we don't think anything is um, that we don't feel any sort of guilt for feeling this way.
Mm.
That we allow ourselves to feel that way, however long we need. But
Yeah.
we always have the conscious. We're conscious that we can get through this. We can. There's always a light.
Mm.
There's always another way to kind of just keep pursuing life in a
Yeah.
positive way. Um, and I think having the right people around you
Mm.
is a big thing, and that's why I'm like that as a person.
Mm.
I'm always somebody that somebody can come to if they need any sort of help. But when it comes to advice, yes, it's allowing yourself to feel that way. Be patient with yourself and your own emotions, um, and just something I shared on my own page is to just live beautifully. Like
Mm.
even though something I say a lot is that we should appreciate the things we have and
Mm.
not what we don't have.
Yeah.
And when we go through things like grief, we lose things that sometimes they're out of our control. And sometimes appreciating the things that we have may not help in the moment, but I think if we keep appreciating those things, it's about building a routine and having respect for yourself and your own life.
Mm.
So keep living beautifully, no matter what you go through. Um, Allow yourself to feel that way, and just be positive.
Be
Be
positive.
positive.
Yeah.
I think like that can be a little
Mm.
cliche because sometimes
Mm.
people say, "Oh, how can I be positive?" Even though
Yeah.
while I'm going through this,
Being grateful. Yeah.
being
Yeah.
grateful for the things you already
One
have.
hundred percent. You talk about uh, during these moments building within you that hope that there's light at the end. What do you think helps us build that conscious, that awareness that there's hope at the end?
I think a big part of it for me was having faith
Mm.
in God and kind of just again going through this introspection phase
Mm.
where I've already gone through things before. I've already overcome,
Yeah.
done those things
Overcame.
before,
Yeah.
so I can do it again. So I can do it again.
Yeah.
Again, it's having patience with the moment, um, and just it's it's just staying positive. It's just staying
Mm.
positive, but always knowing, having faith. God, I think God is a
Yeah.
huge part
Yeah.
that
What
helps us.
role does God play in your life?
Huge role. Honestly, it's a role that I've kind of just started embodying.
Mm.
I kind of just started it, to include it in my life. Uh, Probably would say around 4 months ago. I've always grew up as a kid that went to
Mm.
church, and to be honest with you, I'd fall asleep. But but my mother always got me there. There was a point where she I wouldn't go. So sometimes like she wouldn't force it on me
Yeah.
because she wanted it to be a decision of
Yeah.
myself that I want to go. And I think her doing that actually got me closer to it. So now
Mm.
I think it started like in November where I started going to church um, here in San Antonio, and yeah, it's helped me a lot. It's helped me always see that light,
Mm.
understand that some things are out of my control, and that the best thing that I can do for myself right now is to just focus on the present, live the now, and just live beautifully.
And live
I
beautifully. Yeah.
live beautifully.
Yeah, I think that God, it definitely also in my life gives me that hope, gives me that light. Not only as I look forward, but even when I look back and I reflect on everything that I have gone through and all the people that have come into my life after the things that I have faced, I can see that God has been working in my life and is working in my life. And so that gives me a lot of peace because I comprehend that I must keep doing what's in my control, keep taking the actions to become the best version of myself. But at the end of the day, he's in control of the broader picture of what's to come, the people that will come along the way. And it must be me that will have to just take the action. It's like we take the action, but he always is abundant.
Yeah,
And so I think God is a huge part, and definitely when it comes to navigating grief, I think is critical to us gaining that hope, gaining that desire to move forward because we know that He has a purpose for us.
of course. Yeah, no, we are the he's the hero of our story. He's the
Mm.
hero. We're
Yeah,
we're the writers, but we're the authors, but he's the hero of it.
yeah.
And so it's just knowing that everything happens for a reason. Again, another reason why,
Hmm.
or another way to just know that there's always a light is knowing that everything happens for a reason. Everything that happens to you happens for you. We said this at the beginning of the
Hmm.
episode. Happens for you.
As you have experienced difficult times in your life and grief, have you ever seeked for outlets like music or art or writing or reading?
I think I've seeked my culture a lot. I think my culture is something that I've stuck to a lot. I think a lot of us that move from a Latino place to the U.S. kind of sometimes we get drawn into this
Mm.
U.S. Environment, which nothing's wrong with it, but
Yeah.
we lose our blood, we lose
Right.
our nature, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that something I've always reconnected and been proud of is from being from where I'm from and the music that's from there. Still having family over there, and I think reconnecting with that is something that I've always connected with.
Mm.
Um the music there for sure. Navigating through grief as well
Yeah.
has helped, or something that has helped me do that is seeking therapy,
Mm-hmm.
talking to again my mother
Mm-hmm.
through those moments and not feeling like I'm alone. Um,
Yeah.
I think therapy, mother,
Yeah.
just having people in your life that you can go to.
Yeah, I think that our support system when we're going through when we're navigating grief is critical because we need to give direction throughout to all the emotions that we're experiencing through grief. Because if we do not do that, then the chances of depression, the chances of anxiety, the chances of staying stuck are higher,
Hmm.
and the chances of us going to and abusing substances are higher. So you come to comprehend that, oh, I need to give direction to what's going on inside. So let me seek help from a therapist. Let me start listening to music that can help me heal. Let me start journaling. Let me start reading. And it's interesting that as we seek for these things, they're not only helping us heal through our grief, but they're also helping us grow a lot more than we probably would have expected. It's a very beautiful, powerful like cycle of healing and of growth and of like new discoveries as well. Now, the last question that I'll ask you, Pablo, is what do you expect in the future as you continue to navigate grief? You know, as you continue to lose people during your life.
I expect to life to keep teaching me.
Mm.
I think that's a big part of it. A
Yeah.
lot of my learning has come through me wanting it and me being conscious. I would say some of it has come through grief, but again, a lot of it has come from me observing other people go through grief. That I expect, I understand that there is sometimes grief that you
Mm.
just happens to you, and so when that does happen to me, I expect myself to kind of know the things to look for, um,
Mm.
the things that we've talked about this
Yeah.
episode, to just keep those things in my life. I expect myself to not really to just stay in the present.
Mm.
Again, I think
Mhm.
it just I go back to the answers that I gave before
Yeah, but
of just staying in the present and allowing myself to feel that way.
Mhm.
How would you answer that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think as far as expectations, um, is being sort of like being open, like continuing being open that these experiences are part of life, that these experiences are there to teach us great lessons, to teach us to enjoy the present more because we don't know how much time we have, and
Mm-hmm.
to appreciate the people around us. So I'm aware it's a part of life, and I think the meaning we give to those experiences are what's important and what helps us move forward and really take the lessons that they have for us. So I expect to keep growing
Yep.
from them.
It just
Yeah.
keep growing. Um,
Yeah.
Letting life teach us, but obviously become aware of the things that we go through, and just always seeking growth. I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah.
Again, it may come with a lot of hardships, but once we become aware of that, we know how to navigate through them. And so I think, especially us learning
Mm.
at our age, um, I think we're setting ourselves for a good life.
I agree with you. I
I
agree with
think
you.
we should, our goal should be to live the life, or to live the life not perfectly, but just to this goes back to being in the
Mm.
present, to just live it in the best of our abilities, understanding that things are going to happen to
Mm.
us, um, but there's we should never give up,
Yeah.
right? We
That
should
we're
never give up.
continuously molding and shaping and crafting ourselves through those experiences. So take it for the better than the worse. I agree. That's incredible. Pablo, thank you so much,
Wow,
man,
man, it's the first
for
time doing
being
this.
here. Yes.
I
I really appreciate it, man. Do you have anything else in mind? Anything that maybe you want to let out and say to the audience who's watching?
I um I think I do have a couple of
Yeah.
words. Um, I think we should, as people, we should again seek growth. I feel like a lot of us are very sometimes comfortable
Mm.
with the place we are in life.
Mm.
That we don't think growth is necessary. We don't think growth is something that we need, because I'm good. Like I'm chilling with where I am. But you realize later on that you instead of choosing growth, you decided to settle for the just that version of you. And there's always growth. There's always
Mm.
something you can get better at. And even now,
Yeah.
I mean, and there's always going to be things to get better at even later on. But even now, even though we've gotten so good at these little things in life, facing fears, we've gotten good at that. We've gotten good at introspection,
Mm.
understanding ourselves. We've gotten good at um, understanding others.
Mm.
There's always little things that us internally can work on, and I think us not settling for for our for just a version of ourselves, and instead started embracing our imperfections,
Mm.
and choosing to choosing growth, and not letting just something in life happen to us to then have to choose it. I think
Yeah.
um, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think that what I'm hearing a lot of from what you're saying also is to always keep a learning mindset, to understand and have the humility to be aware that we're continuously going to learn through our life and to seek to continue on learning because that's what helps us grow.
Yeah.
You know, when we stay in a learning state, we're going to continue on growing because we're seeking new information. We're seeking new ways of being, of new ways of experiencing life,
Yeah.
of meeting new people. And so I think keeping that learning state helps us to stay out of our comfort zone and to keep unleashing our best self.
I love that. I love that. I'm excited.
Pablo, again, thank you so much.
Mano, te quiero dar un abrazo, pero
Thank you so much for the time today. I
gracias a
really
ti.
I really appreciate it. I think that the conversation was very fruitful. I think that this is starting to get more of a narrow and a niche, which is grief. And I was using the word loss a lot before, but now I think the right word is grief because that's really what we're focusing on here. And I think it's going to also help the audience to really identify to what we're talking about. So I hope whoever's watching, guys, I hope that you were able to take something away. I hope that this was able to serve you and that you can apply it to your own life. Please let me know in the comments any specific topics that, as we're talking about grief, that you would want to hear, that we can include for the next episodes so that we can keep growing together. All right, make sure to follow Pablo on his Instagram. He also posts personal development content, sharing his thoughts, sharing his experiences, which I'm sure they could serve you guys as well. So make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Finding Purpose. Bye-bye, guys.